Hi guys! This video, I want to talk about something that I get a lot of messages about, kind of a clearing up a misconception thing and setting the record straight. I get a lot of messages from people asking me, what can I do to become goth? Or asking me, why did you decide to become goth? And like stuff along those lines. There really is no deciding to become goth. That's like deciding to be smart or deciding to be gay. You either are or you aren't. And like when the time comes to go full force into the lifestyle or mindset or whatever, you more realize it rather than become it. Like you can decide to become, a doctor or a scientist. And even those things have to have like some root in who you are to begin with. Like, you're not going to decide to be a doctor if the sight of blood makes you squeamish, and you're probably going to want to become a scientist if you already have some kind of interest in science or natural inclination to like study and research and, things like that. So really in both of those scenarios, you kind of already are what you've decided to become. You're just lacking the skills and the know-how. Just like with goth, with the baby bats, people just starting out, in order to, enhance their gothiness or realize it more or reach a point to where they're at a comfort level with them, like where they feel like they can finally actually say, okay, I am goth now because I am comfortable with it and I understand it and I'm here. All it takes is, research and submerging yourself in the subculture, like, watching the kinds of movies that goth people would like the horror movies and stuff like that. Listening to the music, going to the clubs, doing the hair and makeup, dressing in the fashion, things like that. You just kind of have to experience it. You have to do it. You have to practice it in order to enhance what is already there. Just like with anybody else, like, if you want to go to school to be a music major, you can't just go into college and go, I don't know anything about music, but I want to be a music major, and play this instrument for a living. You have to already know how to do it. You have to already be pretty good at it, actually. You have to already have a mind like a musician. You can't just show up at a school and go, teach me how to be a professional musician, I want a degree. It doesn't work that way. You have to already be that way in your mind. So even the things that you can decide to become still have to be rooted in who you are in the first place. So even if you arguably could become goth, you would still have to have something inside of you that is gothically inclined in the first place, making the phrase kind of useless, really, because you can't just like decide to become goth from scratch unless you pretty much already are on the inside, or feel like you want to be, because it's that feeling like you want to be that is your inner gothiness that just hasn't been awakened yet. Like, you see what I mean? Like, people who have no interest in becoming it aren't it, because why would they? Because that's not who they are. But the people who want to become it, I think that they just mean they want to find out how to enhance it and grow into it, but they're using the word become goth. And some people who have used that phrase actually think that you can become goth, like overnight. No, you can't. Now, I realize the difference between, like being goth and like the doctor and the scientist thing, because the doctor and the scientist thing are professions. But the same basic theory is the same. Like with being smart or being gay. You don't choose to be either one of those, nor are you just shot out of the womb already those things. It still takes time to develop. It's still who you are inside. There just comes a point in your life when you realize it and want to develop it and use it, so it's more of a personality trait than a profession, I realize, but I was just using the, doctor and scientist thing to hopefully make it a little more clear, because it's the same theory. Anything that makes you you takes time and growth to nurture and fully develop into, like, its full potential. That applies to anything about you. Like, when you tried coffee for the first time, did you go, this is good, but it would be better with a little bit of milk, probably 2 tablespoons of sugar and a shot of caramel? No, probably not. But like, as you get accustomed to drinking coffee and making it more of a part of your life, your knowledge and comfort of it grows. until you're, you know, ordering the longest coffee name on the menu with all these specific little things that you know you like about it, like little tweaks and stuff that the first time you drank it would have sounded like Greek gibberish to you. You know what I'm talking about? You can't just become a coffee aficionado overnight. Same with you can't just become goth overnight. It takes time to get used to and develop. Also, just another thing that I've been wanting to address for a while, this thing with goth having rules, like with the people who message me saying, you know, what can I do to become goth? What are some of the things I should do to become goth? I'm guessing they're getting the impression from a lot of people, maybe inadvertently or directly, that there are certain rules you have to abide by to be goth, otherwise you are kicked out of the club or shunned or considered a poser or whatever. I know I speak for a lot of people in the subculture when I say that's stupid. Some goths will disagree, oh, you have to listen to goth music and you have to wear black and you have to read Edgar Allan Poe or you're not goth. You know? Well, whatever. Those people can think whatever they want, but the majority of the subculture is like, you can still be anything in the world that you want. You can like My Little Pony, you know, and still be goth. You can listen to polka music and still be goth. You can wear white and have blonde hair and still be goth. It doesn't matter. There aren't rules because it's about you, you know, more so than like the rules. Like sticking with the coffee metaphor, other people who have been drinking coffee longer than you can guide you along the way and offer their opinion and everything. Like say, oh, black coffee is gross, you don't want to go anywhere near that. Or like, hazelnut lattes are the best, you will love them and you should drink them because all coffee drinkers love them. You may end up hating hazelnut lattes, you may end up loving black coffee. No two coffee drinkers are going to like the exact same coffees at all times, but you still can both consider yourselves coffee aficionados. You don't have to like the same things, you don't have to drink the same things regularly, you don't have to order from the same places, you don't have to drink them at the same times of day, but you still are in the same group of people. You know, other people can provide guidance, but it is ultimately up to you in the end to decide what defines you as far as where you fit in the category. It's about what you make of it yourself. It's like making goth your own thing, not, you know, conforming to the list of rules, because that would be fitting into the stereotype. And stereotype is a bad thing because that's what everybody thinks, and if you're just trying to conform to the stereotype, it kind of defeats the whole purpose of the whole thing. I think a lot of people outside the subculture have that misconception. They're like, well, this is the stereotype, it must be true, which I understand that's what a stereotype is. But yes, while a lot of the same characteristics are apparent in a lot of goth people in the goth community, of course the ones who all look the same are going to be noticeable, but you know, the ones that don't fit the mold quite so much probably are going to go a little bit more under the radar. So all people are going to see are the ones that all fit the same description. But you don't have to fit that description in order to consider yourself a goth. And for all the goths who always try to get non-goths to realize that, you know, goths aren't evil and always wear black and always watch horror movies and stuff like that, I'm actually surprised at how judgmental a lot of people in the gothic community are of each other. Like, it doesn't really make any sense to me, but that's just whatever. I don't dye my hair or bleach it or whatever, or do my makeup because it makes me more goth. I do it just because that's what I feel like doing. It's just how I feel like expressing myself. I mean, it's just what I feel like doing. There's some weird little microscopic electrical impulse in my brain that says, hey, do this and it will make you happy and confident and feel good and make you feel like you know? It really just is that simple. So I don't appreciate when people tell me, oh, you do this just to stand out, or you do this just to look goth, or you define yourself by how you look because you're putting so much emphasis on the goth label. I do it for the same reason that you wear your freaking sports jersey everywhere. 'Cause you wanna. Same thing. So to those who ask me about becoming goth, just listen to yourself inside and do what you feel like doing, because that's ultimately what it's going to end up being, is just whatever you want to do and who you want to be. Whatever you are inside, it will show on the outside, and that is what's going to make you you. Don't worry about trying to conform to rules or trying to impress anyone, or don't even worry about offending anyone. Just let the chips fall where they will and ride the wave. And don't think that it can happen overnight, because it can't. It takes a long time, sometimes years, to develop your own personal style as a goth or as a whatever you are. It doesn't even matter. So for all the people who have been asking me, can I listen to this music and still be goth? Can I wear this and still be goth? Absolutely. It is not about that stuff. It's just, if you say you're goth, you're goth. No one can tell you different. No one can tell you what you are or you aren't. You know what you are. You know how it defines you. Whatever. Make it your own. Be yourself. And that's it. I hope this video helped some of you guys and helped clear things up a little bit. I hope you enjoyed it. And feel free to pass this along to anybody else you think might have doubts about it or questions or anything like that. If you have any other questions, feel free to send me messages. I will answer your questions as best I can. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!